Hello, everybody. Happy Friday, the 15th of August. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday. I'm old, so Friday means chill, relax. Zebras are gone, doing their teen thing. Whitey's already in bed because he gets up really early. So, quiet time for me. Awesome. You'll understand when you get older. But that's okay. Also, I wanted to point out that my girls insisted I buy these pants. I like to call them breeches. I don't know. And they're called cake pants. And I was a little unsure. My daughter promised me, Mom, it's supposed to make your butt look good. So I went for it. And I want you to kind of be the judge. If you can see, they're kind of a little high-waisted, kind of a cool little pattern, but I don't really know what they're doing for my butt. And God knows I used to have a bigger butt, but with all the drama and stress that's been happening in my life, whole other issue, whole other show, I kind of tend to hold that all in my belly so I don't eat as well as I should. Not intentionally, it's just the way my body works. What I'd like to talk about today is disordered love. And disordered love is something that I learned in college many, many moons ago. And if you don't know what disordered love is, it is loving things out of order. It's, for example, you don't love your dog the way you love your parents. You don't love your money the way you love your children. You don't love your house the way you love food. It's, everything has a certain way of being honored or loved. And what I've learned about our society is that we are all messed up. Our priorities are really, excuse my French, effed up. And I say that word because that's the only word that I can use that really shows how messed up we are. And we all wonder, why is the world the way it is? Why do we have murderers and kids doing awful things and parents doing horrible things and all these crimes and issues going on? And we have to take responsibility for some of that. You can't just sit back and go, I'm not doing anything to contribute to that. But we are, subconsciously, and by not doing anything, you're doing something. And this isn't quite as serious, but what I noticed is I'm in football cheerleader country, Dallas Cowboys, which I'm sure everybody loves. I grew up, Tom Landry era was God. And so I have a lot of respect for the organization and what they've done for Texas. But what I've noticed this summer in particular, it has happened for many years, is that every single night, the Cowboys are in training camp, okay, in California, I believe. Every single night on the news, they give an update of what's going on in training camp. Now let's think about that for a minute. How about we take a wild guess and say they're training in training camp? They're running drills. They're testing out players, see who they're going to keep, conditioning, that sort of thing. Do we really need to take a valuable news time to discuss it every single night? And where I think we're falling short is that we have decided that figuring out what they're doing in their training camp is more important than, let's say, a child that just overcame cancer, or somebody who needs a transplant that needs money donated, or 5 triplets just got into, be more specific, 5 sets of, let's say, I think I'm trying to reference it right, an African American set of quads, I believe, got into Ivy League school or whatever. It just seems like we're putting the honor and the attention on the wrong thing. And that's a huge opportunity for us to make the world a better place. And I think that we news is sometimes negative, but we have a choice. And why is it that it has to be so focused on the negative and the positive is so low? And that is where we are disordered and we're out of order, and that we have got to do better. I mean, I just don't get it. I was sitting with my husband the other night thinking, they do this every single night. It's really kind of sad. So I really think that we need to work on ourselves. And that's just one way. I'm not picking on the Cowboys. I'm not picking on the news. I'm not picking on media. I'm just saying, I'm sure I do it too. And I have to hold myself accountable to things that I do, and wonder why I do the things I do. And just recently I did it for myself. I had a really difficult situation where I had to leave an employee that I love, and that a job that I loved, but I loved it in the wrong way. The love I had for my job was disordered because the job wasn't honoring me. So it took me a long time. It took me years to figure that out. But finally I did. It was hard. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done because I don't like hurting people, even if they hurt me. And I'm very loyal. And so it's difficult for me to go down that road, but I knew that it was the right thing to do because I knew that I was loving this job and my kiddos there, and et cetera, the wrong way. And so I think that we all have to sort of hold ourselves accountable, and in order to see a change in the world, it's just, that's the way it is, and we've got to just do better. So I would challenge you to look at your own life and see where you can do better, and where you can make little changes. And I think those little things, like taking that much time in the news to talk about training camp, those little things add up as kids watch it, as people watch it. And so what the media values, people tend to value. It shouldn't be that way, but unfortunately that's how it's played out, and it's sad. And I don't like being manipulated in any way, shape, or form, and so I'm very skeptical of all that. So I always try to think, why am I watching this, or why is that on the news, or why do I think that's important? Is it because somebody told me it was important, or is it because I really think it's important? So I guess to sum it all up, I would like to ask you to question yourself on every decision that you've made, every situation, especially if it doesn't sit right with who you are. Evaluate that, figure that out. And here's a perfect example of you should never believe anything, even though it's written repeatedly or said repeatedly, because just because those things happened, it was said, it was written, doesn't make it true. Perfect example. I was told so many times that I was too short to be a professional cheerleader. Well, booyah on you. I did it multiple times. I was also told I couldn't write a book. Well, shazam, I did. I was also told that interracial marriages will never last. The kids will be confused. Well, have you met my kids? And 17 years married, 26 years together. Ugh. See, if I had listened to that, all those messages I got, my life would be completely different. And for some reason, my brain doesn't work like the majority of people. I'm always wondering, why is that? And if it feels right to me, I'm going to do it. As long as nobody's getting hurt or I'm not doing anything illegal, hey, I'm going for it. So I would like for everybody to be able to do that. And I think that we'd all be happier, and it would be reflected in our media and in our news. So that's all I got. Me and my cake pants are going to go chill, put our feet up, drink a Pepsi, and watch a little TV. God bless.